Well, looks like AEW Dynamite Collision. Looks like AEW Dynamite turned out to be terrible night. Name my topic tonight is called Born in Bedlham in Boston. Before full gear this Saturday night. Um, be, full gear is let's see full gear. If full gear this Saturday night be any good, be worth it. So much I say. Let's get started. Uh, um, yeah, hometown John Cena. Yeah, commentary runs down the lineup for tonight's show before we kick things off at ringside for our opening contest. MVP accompanies Bobby Lashley on the way to the ring, followed by the GOA accompanying Ricochet before we get this match underway. For a number one spot in National Title Casino Gauntlet, Bobby Lashley versus Ricochet. Ricochet grabs a microphone from ringside as there are a couple of things he wants to say. First of all, fly Eagles fly. This got some boos from the crowd as Ricochet talks about the only good thing coming out of this state is his beautiful wife. He then stalls for even more time as he starts running down MVP. The crowd tells him to shut the fuck up as Ricochet talks about about getting the respect he deserves. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. And okay, as I was saying, let me finish reading. It becomes more and more clear that he's trying to avoid actually fighting Bobby Lashley, run down people in the crowd before Lashley grabs him by the throat and launches him over the top rope into GOA. Ricochet recovers just in time to take a clothesline from Lashley, who runs down Tony Leola and Bishop Khan as well. Ricochet gets back in the ring, dodging the spear in the corner by the Almighty to get a near fall off a roll up. He up, keeps up. He keeps up. Keeps Lashley down for keeps Lashley down for a running shooting star press, but he can't keep Lashley down for more than a 2 count. Ricochet tries to use the ref as a human shield, but to no avail as Lashley ends up taking him out with his spear for the win. Winner via pinfall, number one national title casino gauntlet, Bobby Lashley. Lashley celebrates as the man regroups on the ramp. We get a reminder of Hangman Adam Page facing Katsuyori Shibata later tonight before heading backstage to hear from the Ops. Samoa Joe addresses that being told that if he gets involved tonight, he will forfeit his shot at title on Saturday. For saying that Page is guilty of crimes against the Ops, and his punishment starts tonight at the hands of Katsuyori Shibata. Shibata begins the payment and come to full gear. Samoa Joe will collect full. He allows Shibata to address the champ in Japanese before he cut away. We get a little look at what's to come at Full Gear, and later tonight before heading backstage where Don Callis tries to urge on the Young Bucks ahead of their match up next, and they'll address the Bucks decision after. From there we head to ringside as Don Callis introduces the Bucks, who are from Rancho Cucamonga, apparently, as the pair head down the ramp for our next match. Josh Alexander makes his way out next before Hold on a second. Yeah, as the pair head down to the ramp for our next match, Josh Alexander makes his way out next before Skyflight makes their entrance before heading to the ring to get this match underway. The Young Bucks and Josh Alexander versus Skyflight. Nick and Dante start things off with Nick getting the upper hand with an arm drag off the top ropes. He heads to the apron, but Dante cuts him off for stopping a super kick. This ends in a double drop kick and a standoff between both men. Tag made to Josh and Darius. Josh takes to the ropes to Darius ropes to drop Darius with a shoulder tackle and takes him back down to the mat before sending Darius to the corner, only for Darius to send him off with a drop kick. Quick tags to Sky Flight corner as they take the incoming Matt to his limit, only for Nick to get some momentum on the side. This ends in chaos only as Scorpio sends Matt and Nick to the outside, but gets caught by Alexander for a baseball slide as we go to an ad break. Back from the break, we see an argument between Matt and Alexander, and things start to break down, leading to a roll-up that gets Scorpio a near fall. Darius gets the tag and takes Josh off his gang before landing on Bucks with a dive to the outside. Back in and gets the drop on Alexander for a 2 count. Blind tag by Dante before Top Flight takes double teams Alexander in the corner, sending him crashing to the mat with a modified blockbuster for a near fall. The Bucks get involved now, looking for a BTE trigger, but Dante breaks free and sends them to the outside for a dive onto the floor. He leaps back in the ring for a crossbody on Alexander, but only gets a 2 before Josh kicks out. Alexander counters out of a sunset flip, grabbing Dante's boot for an ankle lock before being sent out of the ring. The Bucks get involved once more with a TK driver before Josh shoves them away, clenching away the ankle once more to force a tap out from Dante. Winners via submission, Young Bucks and Josh Alexander. Don calls for his family to come to the ring as they wait for an answer from the Young Bucks. The world is watching. The world is waiting for an announcement that Mac and Nick Jackson are joining the Don Callis family. Yeah, Don reminds them that as in the Bucks' Don reminds them that it's in the Bucks' best interest to join the family. They are sheepish about giving a straight answer. Don says AEW can be a dangerous place without a family. He hate to see happen to the Bucks what happened to Kenny Omega. Clear threat that gets interrupted by the arrival of Kenny Omega himself. He has a chair in hand, making a beeline for the ring where he goes after Josh Alexander. He gets into an argument with the Young Bucks and disallows Josh Alexander to blindside him, grabbing an ankle lock before Don gives the Bucks a chance to show they're joining the family by hitting Omega with a BTE trigger. After some hesitation, they grab their old friend and look to possibly take him out. But Jurassic Express make their way out for the save instead. This sends the rest of the family out of the ring as Omega and the Express stand tall with the fans singing along with Tarzan Boy playing in the arena. Love that song. That song from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. Backstage, we hear from the Babes of Wrath ahead of their semi-final match against the Sisters of Sin. Will and Harley briefly address the women's blood and guts match from last week before focusing on their match ahead. We return to commentary as they acknowledge the passing earlier this week of legendary commentary Bob Caudle. Something that WWE something that WWE didn't do last Monday. No tribute to Bob Caudle. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, he was the one that yeah, he was the. I remember watching online reruns of clips of Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling on YouTube most of the time. And yeah, it's sad. 95 years old, man. God rest his soul. Can't believe WWE didn't know tribute to him last Monday. Bob called him. It's a good thing AEW Dynamite did. Commercial break. We head to ringside as Shelton Benjamin is accompanied by MVP for our next match, followed by Don Speedball Mike Bailey to get this match underway. For a number 2 spot in the National Title Casino Gauntlet, Speedball Mike Bailey versus Shelton Benjamin. The two start to lock up before Benjamin is sent to the corner for a chop that rarely phases him, only taking flurry kicks instead. He sends Speedball to the outside, leaving close behind to send him to the ring post. Bailey turns things around after going after the arm of Benjamin before a ladder sends him into the barricade to get back into it. He brings Bailey back into the ring. Speedball counters for a near fall. He goes for a late mega straw, but Shelton kicks out at 2, only to take an armbar before rolling it out of it. He gets sent over the top, but lands on an apron, only to take a foot to the face, sending him to the floor. Before Bailey goes for a dive on the outside. No, Shelton catches him, slamming Speedball down as we go to an ad break. Okay, 11:59 right now. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from the break, Shelton Benjamin sends Bailey to the mat for a 2 count. Mike fights to his feet, but is sent to the corner by Shelton, who takes the foot to the face and a missile dropkick by Speedball. Bailey continues to flurry of offense onto a shooting star press on the mat, but only gets a near fall for his effort. Bailey with some more kicks as Benjamin gets to his feet, absorbing the punishment before Bailey catches him with a flying armbar. Benjamin powers back to his feet, hoisting Speedball up as both men go over the top rope to the outside. The ref begins to count as Shelton gets to his feet first, only to be pulled away by Bailey. The two go at it before Bailey lands on a hurricane to send Shelton's head into the barricade before sending him to the floor. Okay, now it's 12 o'clock in the morning. Hold on 1 second. Okay, as I was saying, Bailey with some more kicks as Benjamin gets to his feet, absorbing the punishment before Bailey catches him with a flying armbar. Benjamin barrels back to his feet, hoisting the speedball up as both men go to over the top rope as the ref begins to count as Shelton gets to his feet, only pulled away by Bailey. The two go at it outside before Bailey lands on Hurricane to send Shelton's head to the barricade before sending him to the floor. The count has restarted at this point as Bailey slides back into the ring. The count reaches 9 when Benjamin runs back into the ring, only to be dropped by Speedball. Bailey goes up for a shooting star press, but only gets a 2 count when Benjamin kicks out. Okay, the two go at outside before Bailey lands on Hurricane to send Shelton's head into the barricade before sending him to the floor. The count has restarted. At this point, Bailey slides back in the ring. The count reaches 9 when Benjamin runs back into the ring, only to be dropped by Speedball. Bailey goes up for a shooting star press, but only the 2 count when Benjamin kicks out. Benjamin gets back onto the mat as Bailey hits a black foot to the double knee, taking a near fall before Sheldon starts to fight back. He kicks out of the roll up and lays out Speedball with a super kick, but Bailey narrowly gets a shoulder up to stop the count. This riles up MVP, who calls out the ref for it before Benjamin lands on his German suplex and another super kick for the pin and the win. Winner via pinfall, number two in the national title, national casino gauntlet, Shelton Benjamin. Shelton celebrates the win as we go to commercial. Commercial break. We head to ringside for our next match as the Death Riders make their way through the crowd. We get a look at the chaos of the Men's and Blood's guts match as the Riders make their way to the ring. Out next is Roderick Strong, followed by Orange Cassidy before the two head to the ring to get this match underway. Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong versus Death Riders, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. You start things off with Roderick Strong and Castagnoli for Cassidy to go after Mox. He sends Mox to the outside as Claudio goes after Roderick back to the ring. Mox turns things around on Cassidy as back in the ring. Strong lands on a super kick, lands on a drop kick. Cassidy sends Mox to the barricade before Roderick charges after him, landing chops on the lead. Death Rider against the announce table until Claudio intervenes, bringing Strong back into the ring. The tag made to Mox, who lands on some clubbing blows on Strong to send him to the corner. Cassidy jumps in for some shots of his own, allowing Roderick to fight back until the Death Riders take control of an exchange of tags. exchange of tags. Mox sends Strong to the corner and gets sent across the ring by Roderick for laying him out with a clothesline as a crowd chants, "You top that at Max." Yeah, back from the break. Yeah, back back from the break. Mox has a hold on Cassidy before ring before Ladder breaks free, only to be sent to the corner for a beatdown by both Death Riders. Cassidy starts to fight back as he hooks for a tag, only to be pulled away by Claudio. Gets rolled up for a near fall. Cassidy goes back after hit a short and giant swing, but Cassidy dodges a clothesline for a DDT, sending Claudio to the mat. Tags made to Max and Roderick, only Strong keeping Mox off his feet before sending Claudio to the floor outside. Strong runs the ropes for a running elbow on Mox, followed by a slam before going for a strong hold. Mox might tap, but we never know as Garcia distracts Roderick to force a break. Mox takes control for a near fall as Cassidy breaks that up. Death Rider send him away before looking for a Doomsday device, but Strong fights him off for a suplex on Mox. Cassidy comes in for an orange punch off on Garcia off the tag, but Yu distracts him long enough for a pop-up uppercut by Castagnoli. Mox clinches in a bulldog choke to make Cassidy pass out for the win. Winners via pinfall, winners via submission to Death Riders. Celebration is cut short as Kyle Roy heads out, making a beeline for the ring as John Moxley as he gets an ankle lock that makes Mox tap right away. The Death Riders try to intervene, but Kyle will not relent as he keeps the hold locked in. The referee's crew managed to get Mox out of the ring as a conglomeration Paragon stand tall in the ring. O'Reilly gets the microphone calling out Mox for a match at Full Gear, and just as he's about ready to get a taste of his case of blood, he wants it, but wants it no holds barred, just as like Blood and Guts history. The history books will show that Mox tapped out. The crowd chants this at Mox as the Death Riders escape through the crowd. Backstage, Bardio addresses the FTR's actions of late. Brodio says FTR has proven that they are one of the biggest tag teams in the business, but they have not proven they can beat Brodio. At Full Gear, the pair will retain their tag titles, and Bandito says Brodio never stops fighting. Yep, never stops fighting. Hold on a second. Backstage we see Mercedes Moné ahead of the Ring of Honor Women's Television Unification match later tonight as we head to a commercial break. Backstage, Kenny Omega addresses the Don Callis family and the Young Bucks. He says things have become all too personal with them, and the money is on the line is nothing compared to what Kenny wants to do to them. He tells Callis and his crew to rest up until Saturday. Good night, mwah, and goodbye, bang. Back at ringside, the Timeless Love Bombs make their entrance for our next match as we get a look back at the women's Blood and Guts match last week. Alex Windsor and Rio are out next, heading to the ring as we get this match underway. AEW Women's Tag Team Title Tournament quarterfinal Timeless Love Bombs, Tony and Mina Shikara versus Rio and Alex Windsor. We start off with Mina and Rio exchanging offense to stand still before making tags to Storm and Windsor. Windsor looks to test of strength and almost looks to be dancing, but this is a serious matter as they finally lock up, with Tony taking control until Alex breaks away. Storm is sent to the ropes and being taken down with an army drag by Windsor, who lands a shot to the throat to keep it on the attack. Tag to Rio with an assist leading to running forearm into the corner on Storm for a near fall. Mina gets a tag and a double team leads to a leg drop for a 2 count of her own. She sends Rio to the ropes, but Windsor runs in for an assist, sending Mina out before landing a double suplex on Tony, followed by an assist crossbody on the Timeless One on the floor as we go to an ad break. Full ad break entry match, but back from the break, Rio still in control of Mina, and she tags in Windsor. Shakira fights back, catching both women off guard with a DDT on Rio while holding onto a leg lock on Windsor. Tag made to Tony, who hits Alex with a series of snapmares with a big boot. She lands a DDT for a 2 count, tagging Mina back in for an assisted tornado in a 2 count. Mina was shimmy before stomping the legs of Windsor. She hits the ropes, but gets with a blue thunderbomb by Windsor for a near fall. Tag to Rio, they keep Mina down while Windsor focuses on Storm, allowing Rio to get out of a 2 count. She goes up top, but Mina dodges, landing a back fist on Rio, followed by a figure for a leg lock. Rio quickly fights back, reversing the move until Tony comes to the shift to lock back in Mina's favor. Windsor returns the favor, and this leads to Alex and Storm going until they both land on prospective partners. Rio's up first for a near fall, but Mina hits a running elbow for a 2 count of her own. Tags made to Windsor and Storm, with now taking control as she lifts Tony up for a back suplex and a 2 count. Storm fends off a sharpshooter as Windsor takes a roundhouse kick by Mina, who hits a German suplex on Rio. Double hip attacks in the corner by Timeless Tony Love Bombs, and Storm covers Windsor for the win. Wins via pinfall and advancing Timeless Love Bombs. The pair celebrate as we are reminded of the final match and still come tonight. We get breaking news that Full Gear, the 4 advancing teams will face off in a 4-corner tag team match, with the winners getting to choose their stipulation for their semi-final match. With that, we go backstage where Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe have something face-to-face ahead of their match at Full Gear. With Renee thanking them, agreeing to no physicality, Fletcher looks forward to beating Briscoe and helping them see what a real family looks like. But Briscoe cuts him off, saying that he fights for his family every single week, whether it's his family at home or the conglomeration. Where he agreed to this stipulation, he knew that failure is not an option, so this Saturday will not disappoint his family. In fact, he's going to make his family proud. Before he can continue, he's blindsided by Okada and Hechishiro. They hold up Briscoe as Callis tells him that he will not see to it that Mark's kids are made orphans. and Fletcher thanks the pair for not agreeing to no physicality. Okada says he was happy to do this since Takeshita will not hyping up Pro Okada for walking away as we go to commercial. We hear from Pac as he gives Darby an apology for not breaking his neck as he like he promised he would. Still as burned as Darby is, no one has heard from him. He says that Blood and Guts he maybe took things a little too far. For telling Darby that he still has any backbone, he should answer his question. At Full Gear will just be a legit competition, no games or weapons. Because when everything about Darby is stripped away, he is no match for a legitimate athlete like Pac. Back at ringside, Samoa Joe joins commentary for our next match. Out first is Kazuri Shibata, who stays focused as he heads down to the ramp, only to be blindsided by Hangman Adam Page, who comes at him from the crowd. He brings Shibata toward the announce table, with Joe mouthing off at him as he brings Shibata back into the ring to get this match underway. Non-title match, AEW World Champion Hangman Page versus Kazuri Shibata. Only to be outside by Shibata. Landing on the floor, Shibata sends the champ into the LED barricade, knocking the lights off as he continues the attack on Page. He sits him down on a chair before charging for a kick, but Hangman fights him off, laying in some shots of his own. He brings the wrestler back in the ring and sending him to the corner for some stomps. He brings Shibata to the opposite corner, but Shibata fights back. Side headlock by Shibata is countered to a backbreaker and a lariat by Hangman for a 2 count. Page stares down at Joe at ringside, and this gives Shibata an opening as he sends the champ outside for once more for a stamp suplex into the floor as we go to an ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from break, Shibata has the advantage back in the ring until Page brings him to the outside, staring down at Joe as he brings the Trios champion back in the ring. When Shibata catches him for a near fall, he goes for a PK, but Page catches him, eventually sending Shibata into the ring corner before the wrestler runs into him with a running corner kick. He follows up with a fake out to go after the leg of the world champion, only for a follow-up to be dodged by Page. The ref gets knocked away, allowing Shibata to a low blow on Hangman. As Shibata has him trapped in an armbar until Page gets to the ropes for a break. He goes after Page again for an ankle lock, but the champ loses his boot, which ends up slipping out of Shibata's grasp. And this allows Page to land on buckshot lariat for the win. Winner via pinfall, Hangman and Page. Page stares down Joe from the ring as we transition to Collision. Page gets the microphone to address Samoa Joe, telling him to look what happened to Shibata, for saying he's not afraid to remind the challenger what happened last time he was locked in a steel cage with someone. Page's music hits as the Ops regroup on the ramp before we cut away. Backstage, we hear from FTR and Big Stoke ahead of the World Tag Team Championship match at Full Gear. FTR make it clear they are ready to beat Brodeo for the titles, and next tells Brandito to say hi to his abuela for him as we move on. Back at ringside, Megan Payne and Maria Shafir make their entrance for their first match of Collision Hour. Out next is Tay J as we get this match for the tag title quarter final underway. I bet you this is kind of similar to WWE's women's tag team titles. AEW Women's Tag Team Title Tournament quarterfinal: Tay versus Megan Bayne, Marina Shafir. Tay and Marina go at it to start things off with Melo making mention take control for a tag to Anna Jay and a double suplex. Megan charges, but it gets sent away to the outside and to things break down as all four women go at it on the outside. Tay sends Shafir into the apron and Jay sends Megan into the ropes, into the ring steps, and Tay climbs on the top of the barricade for a double crossbody to keep both opponents down. Jay brings Marina back in the ring for a tag to Melo. Melo only for Shafir to fight them off long enough for Bane to get a tag and clothesline. She tags Marina back in, and both women look ready to get back into it as we go to full ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from the break, Megan gets sent to the mat before Tay tags in to keep top Megasis of the Megasis. Shafir intervenes but is sent away as Tay goes after their opponents. Opposite corners. Bane and Marina suplex attempts, but Tay and Jay manage to pull it off, sending them to the mat. Double guillotines are counted as Anna and Melo get dropped to the mat. They double team Jay for a cover by Bane, by Bane, broken up by Tay. Marina gets sent to the outside for a double team on Bane, but Anna only gets a two count. Bane fights back until Jay goes for a Queen Slayer, but Megan backs her into a corner for a blind tag, and Shafir goes after Jay for a takedown as Anna mutters milk. Jay's out cold, and the ref calls for a bell. Winners via submission advancing: Megan Bane, Marina Shafir. Celebration is cut short by Marina and Tony speaking from backstage, addressing their possible stipulations that they can name after winning at Full Gear. Storm brings up Mox, saying he'll piss himself in fear when he sees what they're doing to his little women. Commentary hypes up the Ring of Honor Women's Television Title Unification match for later tonight, as well as the AEW Women's World Championship match at Full Gear. Matter of fact, video package: Chris Stantler talks about focus ahead of that match, and most importantly tells us to focus on her. Commercial break. Backstage we hear from Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn as they talk up the tailgate 4-way match for 2 to 20,000 for 20,000. Live financial talk from Robinson as we cut away. Backstage at ringside, Mascara Dorada makes his way out for our next match. Nature of this double jeopardy match that means that if Dorada wins, he earns a title shot at the AEW Unification Championship. And if Okada wins, there's a future shot at the CMLL World Trios Championship. Speaking of, out next is Okada alongside Don Callis, and his Cheryl as a ringmaker enters this to get this match underway. Double Jeopardy match: Kazuchika Okada versus Mascara Dorada. A 2 lockup before Dorada breaks free. Another lockup leads to Okada being taken to the ropes, only to knock the Mascara down with a shoulder tackle. He sends Dorada to the ropes, but the luchador catches him off guard, forcing the ringmaker to the outside. The ref begins to count as Okada takes his time at ringside. Okada becomes frustrated going after the champ on the ring outside and proves costly Constantly, he gets sent into the barricade by Okada. Okada goes back into the ring, only to be met with a dive by Dorada, sending him back out following another dive, sending the Rainmaker to the floor. He brings Okada back in the ring for an attack from the turnbuckle, but a dropkick from Okada forces the Luchador to land the floor as we go to a full ad break full ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from the break, the two men go at it on the apron until Dorada manages to take control, sending Okada onto the top rope. He gets back in the ring to get to the ropes, taking Okada down to the mat once more before sending for Okada responds with a powerbomb. Dorada comes back as he sends Okada to the outside for a tornado and sends Okada into the barricade for a cutter and a hurricanrana. He brings the champ back into the ring as he climbs for a 450 splash, but Okada dodges it before taking it to the luchador down hard to the canvas. Okada goes up top now, connecting with an elbow drop before mocking the crowd. Dorada fights out a Rainmaker. Lariat only for Okada to land a backslide, followed by a drop kick after the luchador hits the ropes. Dorada catches the champ in the corner for Hurricanrana only and goes back up top for a 450 splash. Covered by Dorada, and Okada manages to kick out. He sets up Okada in the corner, keeping the Rainmaker at bay as he sets up for another Rana. Yeah, he keeps Okada in the corner, keeping the Rainmaker at bay as he sets up for another Rana that gets cornered into a massive powerbomb by Okada. He goes for a Rainmaker lariat, but Dorada counters into a small package for a 2 count. Okada responds with a Falcon Arrow followed by a Rainmaker lariat for the win. Winner via pinfall, Kazuchika Okada. Don grabs a microphone to address the Don Callis family for challenging the CMLL World Trios Championship, announcing that the match takes place at Tailgate Brawl on Saturday. Don reveals to the team that will challenge for the titles, led by Okada, who is joined by Hishishiro, and making his triumphant return. IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Takeshita Okada is none too pleased to hear about this, despite a joy on his face as of Don Callis' family as we cut away. Backstage, we hear from the Full Sister Sins who address the Bays of Wrath as well as the match at Full Gear. Back at ringside, Chris Stanley makes her way out as she heads to the commentary for our main event of the night. Coming up next, full commercial break. Well, that's been enough talk. It's time for our main event. You head to the ringside as Mercedes makes her entrance, showing off her titles, holding onto the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. Out next is the return of the official champion, Red Velvet, as Red Velvet makes her way to the ring to get this unification match officially underway. Ring of Honor Women's TV title unification match: Mercedes Moné versus Red Velvet. Moné takes Velvet down for a quick roll up and only in a 2 count, and Velvet fights back for a near fall of her own. This leads to the two men having a standoff before Mercedes takes her fellow champ to the mat for a dance. Velvet responds, sending Moné to the corner to stir it up, followed by a big boot to the throat by Mercedes in the corner. Moné fights back, forcing Velvet to the outside with a baseball slide before landing a meteor off the apron to keep her down. She grabs both Ring of Honor titles, showing them off and she mocks Stat on the announce table. This allows Velvet to go after the CEO for some punches. Monet turns the back around, sending Velvet into a Statlander before bringing her back into the ring. Stat gets riled up but is kept away by the ref as Monet goes after Velvet with the title, but the ref catches her. This allows Velvet to roll her up after a near fall as we go to an ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from the break, Monet counters a suplex for a near fall before Velvet takes the CEO down with a bulldog for a 2 count of her own. She keeps on the attack for another near fall, but with a knockout punch is countered into a statement maker by the CEO. Velvet does her best to fight it out of it before Mercedes Monet rolls through. This gives Velvet some space to break free. She goes for a cross arm breaker, transitioning into a modified arm scissors, only for Mercedes to counter with a roller for a force to break. Both women are back on their feet as Monet sends Velvet into the corner with a kick. Velvet fights back to send Mercedes to the mat for a 2 count. She hits an octopus of holds of sorts on Monet, but it gets countered for a near fall by the CEO. She brings Velvet to the corner, but is met with some offense by Velvet, who takes Monet down hard for a 2 count. Monet looks for a tombstone power drive, but is sent to the corner with a head scissors by Velvet at a two fight out of it on the turnbuckle until Monet lands an avalanche lungbow for the pin and the win. Winner via pinfall and undisputed Ring of Honor Women's Television Champion Mercedes Monet. Monet celebrates in front of Statlander, who goes after Monet before the latter locks her statement maker. We see Women's World Champion tapping out, leaving us to wonder if the same fate will happen to her at Full Gear as Mercedes celebrates. As she does this, we see Statlander carry Royal Velvet up on as Collision. As this is a 3-hour special as a whole comes to a close. This was a terrible show last night. I mean, this is terrible. I know I'm 3 hours long, and it just is gonna be the same shit that's gonna happen when same shit when we all, some of you may know that when SmackDown comes to 3 hours on January 2nd, 2026. Friday Night SmackDown, and they're gonna be desperate, very desperate. Now I got that covered. Now I know what it's time for. It's time for something I like to do. It's time for my timeline history, all the wrestling birthdays, pop culture, and all that, and sports, some sports, little sports, and all that stuff. Let's go to the 18th, November the 18th. Okay, November 18, 2015 marked the death of a wrestler named Rising right wrestler named Kenneth EL2 Rising Sun. He died of natural causes. Born January 10th, 1982, died on November 18, 2015. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, little celebrity birthday. Yesterday was November 18th was a happy 75th birthday. From Dennis Haxton, some of you know is Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell. And November 18th, AJ Gray. He turned 31 yesterday on the 18th, November the 18th. Alex Colon turned 41 on the 18th, November the 18th. Okay, hold on one second. I'm right back. Okay, back everybody. Let's see what else. I wrote some rest of this history from November the 18th. Let's see. WCW Pro. See WCW Pro. Sting and Lex Luger defeated the Blue Bloods. Chris Benoit defeated Vern Henderson Jobber. The Disco Inferno wins after eliminating the State Patrol 10-man Battle Royal. Eddie Guerrero defeats the Gambler after Frog Splash. Jushin Liger defeated Barry Houston. Koji Kanemoto defeated Scott Armstrong. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, on WCW Worldwide, same day, Eddie Guerrero defeated Buck Quartermain after Frog Splash. Bang defeats Louis Esther via submission. Diamond Dallas Page beats Chuck Williams after a Diamond Cutter. Chris Benoit defeats Otis Apollo after a Dragon Suplex. And Ric Flair and Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman defeat Dave Sullivan, Joey Maggs, and Mr. JL. Yeah, the Four Horsemen members. And on WWF Superstars, same day, Saturday, November 18th, 1995, the British Bulldog defeated Roy Raymond. Hakushi defeated Brian Walsh. Dean Douglas defeated Tom McNeely. Goldust defeated Bob Holly. And Armour Johnson defeated Scott D'Amore. And on WCW Saturday night, same day, Paul Orndorff defeated Chuck Williams. VK Wall Street defeats Eddie Jackie. DDP defeats Mike Davis. Chris Benoit defeats wrestles Eddie Guerrero double count. Two best friends. And may they rest in peace, Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero. Dwayne Gill beats Hugh Morris at via DQ. Non-title match, Harlem Heat defeat Border Patrol when Booker T pins Mike Diamond for Harlem Hangover. Sting defeats Bunkhouse Buck with Colonel Rob Parker with a sunset flip. Okay, November 18th on same day, Saturday, November 18th, 1995, 1,150 were in attendance. ECW November to Remember 95 took place 3rd November to Remember at ECW Arena, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This event marked the return of Sabu after a stint to ECW after a stint with WCW and ECW debut of the Blue Meanie. Donnie Allen would versus the Broad Street Bully in a no contest singles match. Bubba Ray Dudley, Big Dick, Chubby, Sign Guy Dudley, and Dances with Dudley defeated Broad Street Bully. And Conan with Jason defeated Jason with Taz as special guest referee. Stevie Richards with Blue Mean defeated El Porto Ricino. The Pit Bulls with Francine defeated the Eliminators. Mysterio tag team match. Rey Mysterio defeated Psychosis. Tuco Scorpion and Sandman defeated the Public Enemy. Tag team match for the ECW TV and the ECW World Tag Team Championships. Axel defeated JT Smith. Bill Alfonso defeated Todd Gordon. Singles match with Bill McGillicuddy as special guest referee. Mikey Whipwreck defeated stunning superstar Steve Austin in singles match for the ECW World Championship. Sabu defeated Heck Myers. Terry Funk defeated and Tommy Dreamer defeated Raven and Cactus Jack. Let's see. Sunday Night Heat aired 2005 Sunday Heat, a little Sunday Heat, which moves to Tuesdays, and they aired a little moved to Fridays. They had a little Friday afternoons. They had those Eddie Guerrero tribute shows, and then on Friday Night SmackDown they had little Eddie Guerrero tribute on Friday Night SmackDown. Matt Hardy defeated Carlito, Legion of Doom, defeated Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch. Chavo Guerrero defeated JBL with Jillian Hall. Juventud Guerrero defeated Brian Kendrick, Funaki and Gregory Helms. Kid Cash, Annunzio, Paul London, Psychosis, to the Sky Too High, Super Crazy Nigeria, and Cruiserweight Battle Royal. Chris Benoit defeated Triple H. And everybody gave their little tribute to Eddie Guerrero, Matt Hardy, and everybody. And Road Warrior Hawk, Warrior Animal gives a little tribute to Eddie Guerrero as well. All superstars for Eddie Guerrero. Then on TNA, on Impact, Awesome Kong defeated Brooke in the TNA World Heavyweight title match. In TNA World Heavyweight title group knockouts match, Tegra Uno defeated Manic in the World Heavyweight titles groups X Division match. Eric Young defeated James Storms in the TNA World Heavyweight titles series group TNA Originals match. Mahalo Shera defeated Aiden O'Shea in a TNA World Heavyweight title series group wildcard match. Eli Drake defeated Crimson in the TNA World Heavyweight title series group Future 4 match. Bobby Roode defeated Abyss in the TNA World Heavyweight title series group TNA Originals match. And on WWE NXT, Nia Jax defeated Carmella. Chad Gable and Jason Jordan defeated The Ascension. Connor and Victor. Emma defeated Mary Kate by submission. McCann, Scott Dawson, and Dash Rod defeated Corey Hollis and John Skyler. Bayley defeated Alexa Bliss to retain the NXT Women's Championship. Now let's go to yesterday's November the 19th. Oh, same day, November 18, 1995, LL Cool J's debut album, Radio, debuted it. And then marriage between Janet Jackson and James DeBarge, same day. And New Edition debuted Christmas All Over the World, same day, November 40, that same day, November 40 of 1980, November 40 of 1985. Okay, on Monday Night Football, the Washington Redskins defeated New York Jets 23-21. And Paul McCartney released the song, "Spires Like Us" little song, saying that day, November 18th, 1985. By the way, now let's go back to November 19th. Okay, yesterday was a happy. '28th birthday to 20th birthday to Matt Hader. And Miss Elizabeth would have been 65 years old yesterday. And see what else? Dara Singh, Indian wrestler Dara Singh. Yeah, he would have been 97 yesterday. He died on July 12th, 2012. He died born November 19th, 1928. 97. He went 97 yesterday. And see what else. November 19th, 1995, NBC aired a miniseries called, based on a book by Ann Rule, Dead by Sunset, starring Ken Owen, Nell O'Toole, and Lindsay Frost. And what else? WCW main event. Leading up to the World 3, Eddie Guerrero and Colt Cobra defeat Dick Slater and Bunkhouse Buck. Bunkhouse Buck. And a paper and then a pay-per-view that started it all. This 1995 Survivor Series and marked the return of Mr. Perfect after a 2-year absence. 1995 Survivor Series. It took place at Landover, Maryland at the US Air Arena. Attendance was 14,500. Yeah, it was Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was Thanksgiving tradition. Sunday night. And it was to mark the return of Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig after a 2-year absence doing commentary. The Smoking Guns, they first opened the show, the Smoking Guns, yeah, the dark match. The Smoking Guns defeated Billy and Bart defeated Public Enemy, Rocco and Johnny Grunge. The Body Diamond, Skip, Rad Redford, Dr. Tom Pritchard, and 123 Kid with Sonny. And Ted DiBiase defeated Underdogs, Marty Jannetty, Hakushi, and Barry Horowitz, and Bobby Holland in 4-on-4 Survivor Series elimination match. And 4-on-4 Survivor Series women's elimination match, like they have right now, like I have way back. That they're doing war games with women's war games right now. Bertha Faye, Aja Kong, Tamako Wanatabe, and Lioness Asuka. No relation to Asuka, who wrestles in WWE. With Harvey Whipping defeated Alundra Blaze, Kanu, Kyoku Inu, Saki Hasegawa, and Shapiri Asai by pinfall in 4-4 Survivor Series women's elimination match. Goldust defeated Bam and Migala. This must be his last match after his loss to Goldust and joining to go to ECW. And Doc Sard, The Undertaker, Vega Fatu, and Harry Garvin with Paul Bearer defeated the Royals, King Mabel, Jerry the King Lawler, Isaac Ingham, and Triple H with ceremony by countout in 4-on-4 Survivor Series match. Shawn Michaels, Ahmed Johnson, and British Bulldog Davor Smith, and Psycho Sid with Jim Cornette and Ted DiBiase defeated Yokozuna, Owen Hart, and Razor Ramon, and Dean Douglas, Mr. Fuji by pinfall. It's crazy to have British Bulldog in this match when he's a heel. And Psycho Sid in here when he's a heel is crazy. Shawn Michaels was the babyface, and Ahmed Johnson was the babyface. Bret Hart defeated Diesel by pinfall. Become WWE Championship once again. And then Kevin Nash became a sore loser and powerbombed Bret Hart. And let's see. What else? What else? They were showing classic stuff from Eddie Guerrero on WWE Velocity November 19th, 2005. And on Impact Wrestling Saturday. Yeah, singles match Samoa Joe defeated Darrell Clark. Non-tag team title match Miracles of Swanwick defeated Apollo and Sonny Siaki, and Rhino defeated Abyss with Father James Mitchell. In 2015 on WWE Friday Night SmackDown. Oh, I forgot little movies released from November the 18th. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire was released. And Walk the Line starring Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon was released. And Breakfast on Pluto was released starring Cillian Murphy and Brandon Gleeson and Liam Neeson. Friday Night SmackDown, back to Friday, on November 19th, 2015. Just hours, just the night before Go Home show for the Survivor Series 2015. Cesaro defeated Miz by submission. Neville and Dudley Boys defeated Stardust in the Ascension. Tyra Breeze defeated Zack Ryder. Charlotte defeated Brie Bella by submission. Big E defeated Kalisto. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio with Zeb Coulter and Kevin Owens in a double countout. And that will do it. That was it. That will do it for for all of you doing this late special edition of that'll get everything covered. I'm the Godfather Soldier, so let me hopefully you have a good morning. It's 1:06 in the morning. And as the late Cherry Henshaw said, dress over Trevor Trigger saying like learn to dance like James Brown, like to get in a hot tub, gonna be sweat, gonna be dry, gonna be wet. Referring to Eddie Murphy doing an impression of James Brown on Saturday Night Live. Back in the 80s, I never grew up in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, but I saw reruns of old school Saturday Night Live on Comedy Central. So I hope you have a good night. I'm out of here. Peace. Have a good morning. I'm out of here. Peace. And I never, like I said, I never grew up in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s. I saw reruns of old school Saturday Night Live on Comedy Central. Here we go. Okay. I hope you have a good night. I'm out of here. Peace. Oh, one other thing. One more piece of wrestling, piece of history I forgot for all of you. Pop culture for November 17th, 1975. Forgot to mention that One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was released on November, yesterday. November 19th. Yesterday was the 50th anniversary release of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, starring Jack Nicholson. Supporting cast includes Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future and Taxi, and Danny DeVito from Taxi, two Taxi co-stars, and Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky, and late Louise Fletcher. So I hope you have a good night. I'm out of here. Peace. Again.